Hey yogis, I hope you're doing well and that you've reacclimated to life post Costa Rica. I want to take a few minutes to review our syllabus together. I know we talked about this our first night in Jaco, but now that we're back and we have 8 weeks of coursework to complete, I just want to go over a few reminders about the remaining coursework that we have. So I'm going to skip through this a little bit fast because some of it just doesn't pertain to us anymore because we've actually finished the lab portion of the course. But there are a few things I want to just help you remember. So here's a little bit of information. Of course, if you don't know by now, my name is Rebecca Warfield. I think there's problems because we just spent 10 days together. But, of course, my name is Rebecca Warfield. This is the Costa Rica section of PED 294. My email is warfield.r@uncw.edu. I think all of you have my phone number, group me, WhatsApp. We have a million ways to communicate. But if you need me, you know how to get a hold of me. This is some new information. My office is Morton 122. And I do have office hours on Tuesday, Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Fridays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So I will be in my office in Morton 122 at those times. But if you don't want to meet face-to-face, we can always FaceTime or Skype, whatever works for you. We're going to skip through the course description because we already know this stuff. We've talked about this before. And I'm also going to skip through most of the student learning outcomes here. But I do want to note that we're still working on understanding and articulating basic yoga philosophy and understanding wellness as a personal journey and community effort. And of course, identifying goals and intentions, assessing progress, and reflection. So just because we're not in Costa Rica doing yoga together anymore doesn't mean that we have no learning outcomes. We're still working on expanding ourselves as yogis and beings of the world. There's been a slight change to this that I'll update for you later. Our course format is actually going to be Canvas, and I will send you a separate video that shows how to work Canvas. So here it says Blackboard Learn, but I found out kind of short notice that we can use Canvas, and I'm ready to get off Blackboard whenever or as soon as possible. So we're going to head over to Canvas. So our course format will be on Canvas. We will not be meeting in person. So everything will be on Canvas. As a note, this course requires the ability to use and navigate a word processor such as Word and Acrobat Reader. Basic skills, here it says for Blackboard, Canvas is super easy. So you just need basic, internet and technology skills to navigate the discussion boards, upload assignments. Here it says taking quizzes, but I don't think we're going to have many quizzes. But essentially, this is a clause that is required to be on here just to remind you that to do this, you have to be able to use a computer, which I think you'll be good at. Some course materials. I think most of you already have your books. You'll need Judith Lassiter's Living Your Yoga, Finding the Spiritual in Everyday Life, Deborah Adele's Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice, and Sri Swami Satchidananda's Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So please make sure you have those books. We will not be reading them in their entirety because they're not really books that are intended to be read from front to back linearly. They're more books that we read certain sections for certain times in our lives. So I will be using selections from these, but I do encourage you in your own life to read them, not necessarily this semester, but to keep them and read them throughout, hopefully, your whole life. My copy of Living Your Yoga I've had for, 12 years now. So we have a few things that need to be completed. We already did our physical final activity exam, so congratulations, you passed that. We did the final before the coursework, but you did finish the final physical activity exam in Costa Rica, so that's good to go. That was our last class that day. You technically did the in-class labs. However, those will need to be transcribed from your journals into Canvas. So there's a little bit of work involved in the sense that you'll have to re-answer the questions, but you should have already done the bulk of the work in the sense that we answered them in our journals and talked about them each morning over our lovely breakfast at Room to Board. So that shouldn't be too labor intensive for you. It's the pre-lab reading and reading questions that will be the majority of our course together. So this will involve reading selections from the books that are listed above and then answering questions, partaking in discussions. I might have a few activities involved in the sense of like things for you to do online to help you understand that material, but hopefully they won't be too difficult to finish. So this is really the one that we're looking at right now, the pre-lab reading and reading questions. So this will be high priority, but this isn't to suggest that this isn't priority at all because I still need you to answer your lab questions in Canvas so I can grade them. If you don't put them in Canvas, I can't grade them, which means you're going to lose 42% of the course, which is not ideal. Just a reminder, here's the grading scale. The course requirements, a little breakdown here. So obviously you'll be assigned readings from the required text, and you must complete the readings. It says here before coming to the lecture lab, but we have a different sort of setup based upon our study abroad. So just keep in mind that the pre-lab reading questions and the in-class labs have to be done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The final physical activity exam is complete. We don't need to worry about attendance because you were all in Costa Rica and had perfect attendance every day. So no worries about that. So we can skip through all of this. No worries about physical activity participation because we're finished that. No worries about attire. We finished that. Don't care what you wear now. We already finished the PAR-Q, so we don't need to worry about any of this. We do need to look at the assignment makeup policy. There are no makeups permitted for the assignments in the lecture portion, the pre-lab readings, or the lab. So I will be setting each week an open date and a due date for both the for the reading and reading questions and the labs where you transcribe from your journals. You have to do that work at that time. I will not reopen them. So we have a really luxurious class that we got to spend half of it in Costa Rica, and now we get to do the other half of it online. So I think we should all be able to make sure we're online and get everything turned in on time. I will not be opening any of the modules at any time. So please make sure you are prepared. Disruptive behavior, obviously I don't think this will be an issue. I do have a little bit of information on Canvas about netiquette to make sure that you are being respectful and using proper communication methods on Canvas, but I think since we all know each other so well, we can handle that. We can move through here. We don't have to worry about the physical activity needs and limitations because we're done with that. The policy on excused absences for religious observances. You may or may not need to take this. If so, you know who you are. You can take those 2 excused absences via CNET. Again, we don't need to worry about the cell phone policy because we're online. And we don't need to worry about having a laptop or a tablet in class because we are online. So last but not least here, I just want to briefly touch on the honor code. I don't expect any of you to cheat in this class, especially since most of the work is done for you and because you're yogis, and yogis live at the highest level of integrity possible. So I don't anticipate that being an issue, but do know that if you do cheat and I find out that you're sharing answers, recycling work from another class, or doing anything of the sort, copying and pasting from the internet, buying your work off the internet, you will fail the course, even though you've already done half of it in Costa Rica. So there's no getting around the academic honor code. If you cheat, you will not pass this course. There's a little more information on here that defines cheating and plagiarism, which if you don't know what's cheating and what's plagiarism, I do encourage you to take a look at that. I hope you know, and if not, please do read that. If you need to request accommodations, you can do so through the Disability Resource Center. Their information's here. The University Learning Center, of course, has supplemental help that you can access, not just for this class, but for any of your classes. Their information is on the syllabus here. And that's a quick and, sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied here. That's a quick guide to our syllabus. Again, we're in pretty good shape because we did most of our coursework already in Costa Rica, so we just need to catch up with the 8 weeks online. I'll be sending out a separate video that shows how to use Canvas, and otherwise, let's have a great semester. I hope you guys come to see me. I miss being in Costa Rica with everyone already because it was such a good time. So stop by, see me, come take some yoga classes, and have a great semester.